What's going on, everyone? First off, today's August 1st. It's been a while since I posted a video. So yeah, but this one's going to be a humongous Blu-ray update that I'm doing here. Probably the biggest shopping spree ever. And those Blu-rays that you saw in the thumbnail, those are just maybe like kind of a fraction of what I got, actually. So just bear with me. I have tons of Blu-rays. In fact, there should be a couple more coming. In fact, I had to send a couple back, but I'll explain that later. But first off, I'm going to start with the ones that, oh, hey, Junebug, what's going on? You almost died, huh? Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Junebug. I guess I laid my healing power upon you now. I'm sorry, my nose is itching. Excuse me. And what's up, Sam? Same time. But yeah, I'm going to start off with these Blu-rays that I got. I think I mentioned this. Fucking nose is itching, so stop fucking inching, nose. Jeez. But yes, anyway, I'm going to start off with the Blu-rays that I got from online from a place called Family Video. So I'm going to show these off. I think, let's see. These are like, what do I have? I don't care. I'm going to show them off and we'll get on with it. So first off, I'll start off with this one. I decided to, Junebug, luckily my girl gave me a butterscotch jelly beer and then I felt better. Can I join Scott? Just kidding. Well, I might stream later, so you'll definitely be able to, you're more than welcome to join on that. So, but anyways, I'm going to get to it. First Blu-ray I got here was Ghost Story. It's a 1981 classic film. Has a good amount of features. Most of these Blu-rays that I got here are Screen Factory and Shout. So, and I don't remember how I got them, but basically I got all these Blu-rays here. The prices were much lower than Amazon's, and I also got 10% off of all these Blu-rays here. So that's why I got them. So that's a pretty damn good deal if you ask me. Junebug. Hey, Sam, do you think Skidder can get butterscotch jelly bean? Only if a hot woman is able to do that for me. So, yeah, maybe. Sam says I'm about to attempt to stream from prison, see what I can do. That's cool. Anyways, I'm glad I have this. Next up here is actually two movies. I guess they're on the same disc, but it's a double feature, also from Screen Factory. It's Bad Dreams and Visiting Hours. I forgot to mention about the cast of Ghost Story. Sorry about that. You have some classic well-known actors. You have Fred Astaire, Melvin Douglas, Derek Fairbanks Jr., and John Houseman. I know one of them was actually their last feature film. I can't remember which actor it was, but anyway, slice it. I'm glad to have it. I wanted to get a lot of these Screen Factory Blu-rays before. Don't worry, Sam. I'll eventually do my. That's what I was talking about. I'm going to stream later on, so I'm going to go ahead and eventually stream after this. But anyways, glad to have it, and it was worth paying for the price and getting 10% off. So yeah. Junebug, is that really true? It'd be interesting. Anyways, back on this subject, I got Visiting Hours and Bad Dreams. So I believe Bad Dreams has a lot of the features, but I think they were previously on a different DVD. So but I think you have new interviews with, I guess, Jennifer Rubin. Maybe they were from the previous DVD. But anyway, you slice it, you get fairly decent features on the films. I know Visiting Hours. I know it had William Shatner, but I think he's only in there for like maybe a few minutes. So yeah. And Bad Dreams, I remember it had you had Jennifer Rubin. You also had Richard Lynch, who was better known to play some pretty solid villains. And then you have Bruce Abbott from Reanimator, who's also in this film too, which I do have, by the way. But yeah, I got this film. Next up here, I have the first two films, The Return of the Living Dead. And it's got a pretty good amount of features on here too. You got a new 2K scan, new audio commentary, a new audio commentary with Talon Matthews, John Feldman. You got some new behind the scenes, the FX of Living Dead. Good amount of documentaries, so yeah. And what's up, Justin? Welcome to the stream. And Sam's trying to say, hey, Ty, do a stream. Don't be lazy. And you bought the old Indiana Jones box set. That's cool. I got the Blu-ray set. So it's another collector's edition. Return of the Living Dead 2. You have the previous two actors, but I don't know if it's the same, if they play the same characters. I think they play different characters, but I could be wrong. But I figured I'd go ahead and get the for the features and the new 2K scan that's on here. So yeah, but I actually did buy the third one, but but I canceled most of them because apparently they were still processing it, and I thought that was ridiculous because I bought them. I think I bought one on, was it Wednesday or Thursday? I don't remember. But anyway, I'm glad to have them. Eventually, I'll try to get the third one to complete the trilogy. So, yep. And then next up, I have collector's edition of Tales from the Hood. I've heard about this film. I've never really seen them. And to be pretty fair, I haven't seen Return of the Living Dead and Return of the Living Dead 2. And we have the sexy big butt. Okay, what's up? Anywho, but back to the subject, Tales from the Hood. You have, you have Clarence Williams III, I believe is the actor's name. Yep. You have a new documentary you have feature interviews. I don't know if there's a new 2K or 4K scan of it, but anyway, glad to have it. I'm curious about this, but I figured I'd go ahead and add it to my collection. Next up, I have Quickly Down Under, a Western, a Tom Selleck, pretty solid little Western. You got some good character moments. You also have Laura San Giacomo and Alan Rickman, who's better known for playing villains like Hans Gruber and the villain in this. And of course, he would go on to be in Harry Potter. He's been in a lot of feature films, and may he rest in peace as well. I originally did have the Blu Ray of this, like a cheaper version of it, but I gave that one to my dad in order to, trade off for some oil to change my oil in the car. So yeah. And next up, I have Matinee with John Goodman, a collector's edition by Shout Factory. So I don't know, and there's no 2K or 4K scan, but it has new interviews with director, and you have mostly the crew that's being interviewed on here. You have a vintage making a featurette, and theatrical trailer, and more apparently. So I'm curious about this because I remember catching it one time on TV and never fully watched it, but I'm curious about how it unfolds. You have it was directed by Joe Dante. He did films like Gremlins, The Twilight Zone. I think the last film he did was actually Looney Tunes Back in Action. He directed another film that I really liked called Inner Space. You also have Jerry Goldsmith that did the score for this film, and I really like Jerry Goldsmith. So I figured I'd go ahead and add this to my collection. And of course, John Goodman. He's a good actor. He's really come a long way. So I figured I'd add it to my collection. Next up, I'm curious about watching this. I've seen a little bit of it, but I haven't fully watched it. And that's the horror film Brain Scan. Another Screen Factory Blu-ray. You have some good amount of features. You have a new audio commentary, an interview with the screenwriter. You actually have an interview with the guy that plays the trickster with this character here, T. Ryder Smith. And you have new documentaries, special effects, makeup, and you have a deleted scene actually, and you have an interview with the composer George S. Clinton, a teaser trailer, theatrical trailer, TV spots. Good amount of features on here. So I'm curious to really check it out. So next up, I actually have the sequel to Candyman, which is Candyman 2, Farewell to the Flesh. And it's a good thing I got this on Family Video because it was probably the cheapest price, not to mention 10% off, because a lot of people on eBay were wanting a bit more for this. They were wanting maybe 20 plus, maybe more for this. And I'm glad that I still got it in the tens price, so, and 10% off. So you can't say that's the worst thing. So yeah. Sorry, I'm going to look at the chat just for curiosity's sake. Justin says it's a neat set. I was happy because I thought Half Price Books was closed, but it was open this whole time. Yeah, they're open for a certain amount of time. And I'll get to some of the other Blu-rays that I've been trying to track down. Next up, I have another set that I bought from Family Video. Next up is Memoirs of an Invisible Man. It's directed by John Carpenter. I remember not minding the film. I thought it was a decent film in its own right. A little, different take for Chevy Chase. And of course, it's John Carpenter. Has a new 2K scan on here. And I think that, there's outtakes and I think it's pretty much the same features on the previous DVD. I never owned it on DVD, so yeah. Okay. I don't know if you're just trolling, so I have no idea. Anywho, next up I have the. Oh, I didn't realize this plastic wrap is starting to peel off. Next up, I have the collector's edition of Cyborg. Another, I guess it's Screen Factory, yeah. And you have a 2K scan of the inner positive. You got new interviews with director Albert Payun, actors Deborah Reitner and Vincent Kleiner are interviewed, which is kind of interesting. You have the new effects of Cyborg. You have the trailer and more. I don't know if it has the infamous director's cut, which I heard sucked. I know that Rambo Ralph Life did a rant on it. So, yeah. And Sam was asking, any terrible movies you generally like despite bad quality? I really can't think of them right at the moment, so maybe they might be in this pile. I have to get to them. Anyway, next up I have the collector's edition of, believe it or not, Teen Wolf 2. I have the first one coming, so I don't know. No, not you, Sam, the sexy big butt. We were making fun of my name. That hurts my feelings. Was that actually you, Sam? Is that your other trope? Unless that's someone else, so... yeah, the other weird account. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Anyways, back on the subject. Teen Wolf 2. I like the first one, and I hope I get the first one at some point. And you have features. You have a new Working with the Wolf. You have an interview with the director. You have the interview with co-star Kim Darby, Stuart Fratkin. So you have a good amount of interviews. Unfortunately, none with Jason Bateman, which I'd be curious because I remember watching it, not minding it. I think he was an admirable replacement for Michael J. Fox because I think that. And Sam says I don't have that troll account. I need Gum of Gnome back. Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, because the first one had speaking of Teen Wolf, the first one had Michael J. Fox. This one, I guess they didn't know. At the time, he was kind of starting off. This is when Jason Bateman was kind of starting off in his career. But, he would grow up to become a pretty solid actor. He did a lot of comedies, but he's been recently doing on this, a slew of, dramas and stuff like that. So, yeah. But anyway, you slice it. It's got a good amount of features, and it's a fairly okay sequel. Next up, I have the film I've been wanting to own, but I never got around to it, and that's the classic Stephen King film, Carrie Collector's Edition. You got a new 4K scan of the original negative. It's a 2-disc Blu Ray. And disc 2, you have a good amount of interviews. You have interviews with the writer, the editor. You have actors Piper Laurie, PJ Soles, Nancy Allen, Betty Buckley, William Catt. None of them say Sissy Spacek, but I guess they have some of the vintage interviews, and apparently it does say interviews with actors Sissy Spacek, Amy Irving. I guess they were done, maybe a decade ago, but you got a good amount of interviews on here, so yeah. And Sam says he misses trolling. That's interesting. Next up, I finally completed one trilogy, and believe it or not, this is the collector's series by Vestron, and it's called Beyond Reanimator, because I got the first one and I got Bride of Reanimator. So I figured I'd go ahead and complete the trilogy on Blu-ray. And speaking of Reanimator, I'm actually trying to sell my Millennium Edition DVD on eBay, along with 3 other Stuart Gordon films as well. You got an audio commentary on this one. You got a good amount of features on here, so it's good to see that I get some features on here. I think Brian Usna directed this one because Stuart Gordon did the first one, Brian Usna directed the second, and yeah, he did the third one. So yeah, Usna directed the other 2. So I'm glad I have those on here. Next up, I have 2 other movies. One's actually a sequel. I'll start off with this one. One's another Vestron series Blu-ray, and that's The Gate. And you got a good amount of features. You got audio commentaries. You got interviews. You got featurettes. I think they're on the previous. I don't know if this ever had a Blu-ray release before this one. But they were on a DVD, and yeah. So you got 1080p. You got widescreen. You got 2-channel stereo. So yeah. it's good to see that it gets some good amount of features. Junebug, come on, Junebug, are you just having a little fun, little banter between you and Sam? Just keep it on the down low, man. But anyway, next up is the sequel, The Gate 2. This time, Screen Factory did this one, and you got a new 2K scan of the interpositive. You got new interviews with the crew, a still gallery, video promo, and a theatrical trailer. So I think at one point this was kind of rare to find, on DVD or something like that. So yeah. But anyway, glad to have them. Next up, I have Screamers. This is the Peter Weller film. I've been curious about this. I remember liking the film. And you got, some interviews with the director, producer, and I believe the co-writer, and I guess that's it. So I guess no interview with Peter Weller, unfortunately, as usual. But at least it's not bare bones, so I'll take it. Then next up, I have the very good cult classic, and I do have that on Blu-ray, which I'm also trying to get rid of, and it's the collector's edition of Night of the Creeps. The famous line, "Good news and bad news. Your dates are here. What's the bad news? They're all dead." And so you got new interviews with some of the actors and actresses. Got a new episode of Horror's Hollow Grounds, an audio commentary with writer and director Fred Recker. I think that was taken from the previous Blu-ray. And you got pretty much some of the features that were on the previous Blu-ray as well. But anyway, sliced it. It's good to see that it gets a kind of a bump up in the features. I don't know if the picture's remastered. But oh yeah, I forgot to mention. This one has both the theatrical and the director's cut on here. I think the one on my Blu-ray is just the director's cut, which is understandably. I kind of like the ending on there a little better than the theatrical ending. But it's nice to see them both on the same Blu-ray. So that's the major difference there. So I'm done with the family video ones that I got. Next up is the ones that I bought from eBay actually, and I bought a couple from Amazon. So I'll get on with it. This one I have already watched, but I did buy it brand new, and that's the film Bad Influence with James Spader and Rob Lowe. Thought about doing a review for this film at some point. Pretty solid little thriller, Unfortunately, there's only an interview with the director, and not listed. I believe there's a trailer for this film. That's pretty much the features. But can't rent this film, and I just wanted to see the film upgraded to 1080, and it looks pretty good. So yeah, and I like James Spader as an actor, and hell, Rob Lowe really shined in this role. It's kind of a different role for him because he's been used to playing, pretty normal characters. Sometimes he can play an asshole, but this here he plays like a really fucked up dude in this one, and he really steals the show as kind of like he has that sociopathical and narcissistic nature about him, and he really pulls it off well because originally he read for the role that James Spader ended up doing, and so yeah, it's a pretty solid thriller right here. Definitely should check it out. Sam says family friendly, eh? You thought this? Well, it's family video, so I don't know. I guess they try to be a little more expansive. So, but I'm not the one that named it. So yeah. And next up, I have the second one. I want to get the first one as well. I actually try to get the first one on family video. Because here's the thing: I actually bought 35 Blu-rays originally from family video, but some of them were still processing, and I thought it was ridiculous. So I canceled the ones that were being processed. And the sequel to this film, Pumpkinhead. The first one is the one I was buying from family video, but unfortunately it was one of the ones that were still processing, so I didn't want to wait, so I canceled that. I will eventually get that one so I can complete, because I think there's like 2 more after this, but I have no interest in them. So to me, the first 2 are the ones that are in my mind. But anyways, it's another Screen Factory Blu-ray that I got. I think it's another out of print, but luckily I only paid like maybe $38 for a brand new copy. That's not bad. It's better than paying like 60 plus for some of the other out of print Screen Factory Blu-rays. So yeah, I'm very glad to get this. It's got a good amount of features. You got some interviews with the crew, and of course, you're gonna interview with actor Mark McCracken. So don't know what character he plays. Doesn't really say, but anyway, you slice it. What's up, Happy Dinosaur? But anyways, glad to have the sequel. I intend on getting the first one because that's definitely the best one of the bunch. So yeah. Next up here, I recently watched this. The Blu-rays are starting to slip out of my hands. I recently watched this, and I technically didn't get this brand new, but this was like the cheapest, and that's the Clive Barker film, Lord of Illusions. And I ended up paying $67 for this one, but other sellers wanted more, like a lot. Like if I were to get it brand new, I'd have to pay like $80+ for this, and I sure as hell wasn't going to pay that much. I just barely won this in a bid. I was hoping it wouldn't increase, but it did, and I've outbid I think I put in my bid like in the last 5 seconds, and it kind of increased, but luckily there was only like maybe a few seconds left, and I just barely got this. So yeah, I think I paid like $67.04 for this, but yeah, I had no other choice because you can't rent this. Even the DVD is kind of hard to find too, and even if you can buy it internationally, but who knows, with the whole COVID situation, the shipping might increase. So I'm better off just buying it in here for right now in the States. And it's apparently all new high definition transfer of Clive Barker's director's cut. So it's got a new remastering, and it looked pretty good for what I saw. And you have Scott Bakula, you have Kevin J. Conner, you have Famke Janssen, and you have Daniel von Bergen as the villain Nix. And I liked it. It was a pretty solid cast, and it's Clive Barker. I like Hellraiser. I even like Nightbreed, which I got on Blu-ray. I thought this was a pretty good effort for him. I think this might have been the final film that he directed. He didn't really do much after that, because his films weren't exactly box office hits, unfortunately, in the 90s especially. But yeah, anyways, I said glad to have it, even if I had to pay a bit more for it. So. But the rest here are definitely brand new. Next up is, hold on, let me go ahead and talk about the eBay Blu-rays. Next up, I have the first one, and it was the other Blu-ray was the other one that I had to cancel because it was still processing. I plan on getting that one. This one is the third Darkman film. I have the first one, and it's definitely the best one. This one I actually got for free along with another Blu-ray, which I'm about to show right after. And it has an audio commentary, and it has a trailer, and that's pretty much it in terms of features. But I'm just glad to get it for free. So, and I do like Jeff Fahey. And Arnold Voloso, I think from what I saw, wasn't too bad, but I bet he's a bit more serious compared to Liam Neeson. And Liam Neeson's definitely the best actor of the whole bunch. So yeah. Yep, got that third one. And the next up is a film I really like. It's a kid's film, but I remember liking it, especially after. Anyways, in getting to that, next up is The Wizard Collector's Edition by Shout Factory. This one has a 4K transfer audio commentary. You also have, it's actually a 2-disc edition. I know in the first one you have a lot of deleted scenes from what I remembered, and I don't know how many, but there's a lot of them. So they're never before released. So that's pretty cool. They were able to put them on there because I think the previous Blu-ray, it didn't have much of features, but luckily, Shout Factory was able to get a hold of it and give it a good amount of features, which is kind of surprising. So I think there were other films that deserve a little bit more, but it's kind of cool that they were able to, do all that. And on disc 2, you have a lot of interviews. You have brand new interviews with Todd Holland. Apparently, Fred Savage is actually interviewed, which is cool. Luke Edwards, writer-producer. And you have How Can I Help You? And lots of other stuff. So yeah, this one actually got a good amount of features, and I'm glad to see it that way. And the next up, it's actually another film that I just bought that I've been trying to get, but luckily, anyway, back to the subject. It's another Scream Factory Blu-ray. It's another Blu-ray that I have tried to find. It's the same way with the Lord of Illusions Blu-ray, because I remember trying to find that at the pawn shops, other video stores, could not find them. Same for this one. A lot of other sellers are wanting so much more for this. Luckily, I only paid like 57. That's at least better than paying $90 for it. And that's the collector's edition of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And you got a new 2K scan. You got auto commentary. You got new interviews with Brooke Adams and Art Hindle. You got some new. I don't know if you have any new documentaries. They were pretty much taken from the previous Blu-ray and DVD. Yeah, they were taken from the previous DVD and Blu-ray that came out before this one. But I heard the transfer is pretty good, so I'm glad to have this. And I'm glad I didn't have to pay like $90. I think before I got it for this price, the cheapest I saw it for was maybe $70, maybe in the 60s before they decided to jack the price up. And there was a like new price, but I didn't want to buy it just yet. And eventually those were gone. So I had no other choice because, you can't rent this. I heard that Scream Factory transfer is really good. It outdoes the previous Blu-ray, which, yeah, I could have bought that one if I wanted to, but I wanted to get the Scream Factory one because it's got a few new features on there and a brand new 2K scan. You can't pass that up. So next up is a pretty gory film. I heard it's really the goriest film of all time. It says it right here. That's the film Dead Alive. Luckily enough, I was able to get this one. I only paid just under $20 for this one because I think a lot of other sellers on eBay want a lot more. Plus, it's the uncut version. There is a version of it on YouTube, but it's probably the R-rated version. But unfortunately, sadly, there are no features. But I only paid under $20 for it, and plus, I think this is the cheapest you can get. So, anyways, I said I'm just glad to get it for that price. Next up here, I have the third Exorcist film, but I figured I'd go ahead and get the first one. I did have the second one, but hey, beautiful soul, what's up? Welcome to my stream. It's good to see you. Anyways, getting to the subject. The first Exorcist film, I had the third one. I had the second one, but the discs were loose in that one, so I actually decided to send that back. And the same with The Strangers. I sent that one back as well. Anywho, I bought this one, the first one, on eBay because for some reason I think the previous Blu-ray or the other one, I think it only had the director's cut. This one actually has both the theatrical and the director's cut as well. I think it has a few more features on here that weren't on the other Blu-ray, the Warner. Because this one's actually a region-free Blu-ray that I got, brand new. I think I paid under $20 for this one. It was well worth it. And I don't see Shout Factory getting a hold of it anytime soon, unless they do. But even if they do, I'll just stick with what I got here because I'm fine with that. Because Shout Factory Blu-rays and Scream Factory Blu-rays, they rarely are cheap. So I'm actually fine with this because you got documentaries, you got some of the stuff from '98, and got the original ending. So yeah, you get a good amount of features on here for a region-free Blu-ray. So I'd take it. Oh, really? You like the first and third Exorcist film? I don't blame you. The third one to me is my favorite one. I think that's the best one of all of the four technically. I have no interest in really getting the fourth one because I know there was two different directors, but it's not going to be on my list anytime soon. The only reason why I even got the second one was probably for the features, and that's pretty much it. Because honestly, the second one is. It tried to be a weird, trippy film, and it did not execute it very well. It came across as more like laughable and just really dull in parts and just unintentionally funny. And to be honest, I ended up being right. Richard Burton was drunk in the film, and he actually was, because apparently he did not like how the script was written. But that's for a whole nother story. Anyways, so I'm glad to have it. Let's see. Sorry about that. And I'm still not quite through yet. And Sam and Junebug acknowledging, I should say that, acknowledging Alexa, technically. Sorry, it's been a long day, so yeah. And yeah, so you definitely agree. The second one was trash, huh? Yeah, I don't blame you. That's for a whole other conversation. Like I said, the only reason why I even got that second one is because I'm curious about the interviews. So next up I have is the I don't know whether. Oh wait, I'll do that later. I have Mission Impossible 3, and I actually do have the first 6 ones, but for some reason the third one on that set, for some reason, none of the features. There's not really much in terms of features, and this one has a load of features on here for whatever reason. It has deleted scenes, behind the scenes stuff. None of this is actually on that set for some reason, which I think is very odd. I think the only thing that was on there was maybe a commentary, and that's it. For some reason, it's like they decided to stand all the features for that one, as far as I can tell. So I decided to go ahead and get this one. It didn't cost me that much. It cost me around 8 and change for this. Still brand new. And this one is probably my favorite one of the bunch. Well, actually, no. Probably my second favorite. At the time, it was probably my favorite one when it was a trilogy. But I think my favorite one is actually Fallout. It was Rogue Nation, so I guess the top 3 I would say is probably Fallout, Rogue Nation, this one, and so on and so forth. But anyways, straighten this out. Sorry about that. Next up here, I guess I'll go ahead and do this since this is the last one I bought on eBay. This is another Screen Factory Blu-ray, and that's the collector's edition of The Entity. And it's got a good amount of interviews. You actually have an interview with Barbara Hershey, Charles Bernstein, who's the composer, and a new audio commentary by Daniel Kramer, author C.J. Fury. You got a trailer, and still, well, technically, Alexa, it's actually a Blu-ray. These are Blu-rays that I got. I didn't buy any DVDs. Fallout. Yeah, it was Mission Impossible Fallout. That was my favorite one, surprisingly enough. But yes, glad to have it. I went ahead and bought it because I feared it might get out of print, because a lot of Screen Factory Blu-rays are going out of print. I feared this one would. I almost bought it on Amazon, but they were temporarily out of stock, but I think they're going to get more, but I didn't want to take a chance, so I bought this one on eBay, paid around 30-something. A lot of other sellers wanted more for it, so I wanted to go ahead and grab it while I could. So yeah, it was a little harsh move, but I did what I had to do. I wanted to get it before it goes up for a ridiculous price. So yeah. And that's not all, beautiful soul. After this, I got 30 more Blu-rays, so I don't know if you want to stay for that, but feel free. Anyone else who can handle that, feel free to stay in. Next up are the 2 Blu-rays that I actually bought on Amazon. And this one is a renowned, a great comedy classic, but it has kind of like a science fiction twist on there. And that's the Arrowhead Blu-ray of Weird Science. Got this one. And it has a lot more features than the previous DVD. Plus, the picture has been remastered as well. It's a new 4K scan. I actually had the previous Blu-ray, but I'm going to try to sell that along with my other Blu-rays. So I decided to get a huge upgrade on it. Plus, you have like 2 different versions. You have the theatrical cut, and you also have an extended version on here too. And I believe you have a TV version on here as well too. And I think you actually have an edited for TV version as well too, but that's standard definition only. But it's cool that they were able to put several different versions of this film on the Blu-ray. I think it's a 2-disc set. I'm not sure, but I could be wrong. But you got a good amount of features. You have, I think you have some new interviews. Yeah, you have a lot of stuff on here. So, and plus, the picture is probably a massive improvement. A lot of people didn't like the Blu-ray that Universal put out, but I didn't see a huge problem with that. But if this is a huge upgrade, I'll definitely take it. Then next up, this is another Screen Factory Blu-ray that I try to locate, in pawn shops, the video stores that were out there, because a lot of the prices for this Blu-ray was way overpriced. I think the cheapest was probably maybe like $90, maybe even more. That's how bad that certain Screen Factory Blu-rays go out of print. But luckily, I did have to fork out a bit more, but it was cheaper than the other prices, and that's the Film Without Warning. I ended up paying around $68 and change for it, but that's better than paying $90+ for this, or even $100. That's where a lot of them were. I think Amazon wanted $80+ for it, I think. Same with the Lord of Illusions Blu-ray, and same with Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the '78 version. A lot of people want so much for it, and that's why I had to get the cheapest one out of all of them. But anyway, you got a good amount of features. You got a commentary with the producer. You get some interviews with the cinematographer Dean Cundy, who was Carpenter, who's associated with Carpenter because he photographs a lot of his films. And you have a interview with a special effects makeup artist, Greg Cannon, and actor Chris Nelson, and of course a trailer. And this film, of course, has Kevin Peter Hall, the guy that would go on to play the Predator, Bigfoot, and something else too, I think. And of course, this film. So, and of course, in Predator 2, which is a very underrated sequel. Yeah, I know, Alexa, it's ridiculous. That's why I try to find the cheapest price that I can. Because I can't even rent these movies, at least the three that I mentioned. But it's also a Blu Ray DVD combo, so that's pretty cool. And Sam, you had to pay $87 for Resident Evil 3. Jeez. Wow. That's quite high. But I'm glad to get this before. Glad to get it for the price that I could. That's the cheapest. And hold on, let me set this aside. Because guess what? Here's today's Blu-rays that I'm going to see, and you can tell there's 6 stacks of 5 right here. So be prepared for another show off of them. And today, well, actually no, a few days ago, I found out that Barnes & Noble was having a 50% sale on Criterion Blu-rays, and I figured I'd go ahead and take advantage of the typical ones that I wanted. I originally was going to get maybe at most 8 of them, but I got a lot more after that because I feared that I wouldn't get them any cheaper, and they can go out of print. Because there's still a few that I want to get that I wasn't able to get. So here we are. I'm going to start with I've heard of this one because it's Marilyn Monroe, and that's the film Some Like It Hot. And I swore I thought I had the old Blu-ray of this, but I guess I don't. So you get a new I think pretty much all these Blu-rays have a 4K restoration or at least a 2K restoration. But anyway, so you get a 4K restoration, you get some interviews, you got an audio commentary. I'm curious about this film because it's Marilyn Monroe, and I figured I'd go ahead and add one of her films to. Oh, hey, we're right on target. Oh, wow, Renfrew Brenly died. Well, I guess diabetes really got him this time. That's unfortunate, but I'm sure he lived a good life. Sucks, but he's in a better place. So next up was another film that I really like, and figured I can get the. I think I got the last one. That's Repo Man. It's another 4K No, it's a 2K. Sorry, 2K approved by the director. You got interviews with certain cast members and the crew. Apparently, Emilio Estevez is not interviewed on here, and that's very unfortunate. In fact, now that I think about it, I was going to try to get Maximum Overdrive on that family video, but that was another Blu-ray that had to process, and I ended up canceling that. So, but yeah, you got a good amount of interviews, and you got a remastered picture. So yeah, it's better than what was previously on there. So yeah. Oh wow, you got banned for having an argument about it? That sucks. About the first Resident Evil? Okay. And Alexa, you like Marilyn Monroe? That's pretty cool. Next up here, I got a pretty, it's a Jack Nicholson film. It's the film called 5 Easy Pieces. I've heard of this film. It has the famous diner scene where he wants some toast with his meal, and the waitress can't really can't do that. And he's like, I want you to hold the chicken between your knees. Just so I don't completely spoil it. I'm sorry, my fucking nose is itching. Stop fucking itching, you damn nose. Gosh, I hate that. Sorry about that. When you're always getting banned. Well, Facebook stinks. Yeah, unfortunately it does. That's why I don't really post a whole lot now these days. Then next up, getting back to the subject, it's Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. It was the very first, I think this is the first and only film that film critic Roger Ebert wrote. Believe it or not, he actually wrote a movie. So I figured I'd go ahead and say, fuck it, I'm going to add it to my collection. And you get, it's got a high definition restoration. You got audio commentary. You even got an audio commentary from Roger Ebert himself. So yeah. And so I think you got a few new interviews, and you got some other features on here, which I won't, talk about. So there you go. This one I didn't expect, but I figured, you know what? I remember I've heard of this film. I think I saw it before. I don't remember much of it, but I recognize the actors, and that's the film The Prince of Tides, which has Barbara Streisand and Nick Nolte, and the film was actually directed by Streisand herself. And you also have a 4K restoration of this. You have an audio commentary featuring Streisand, which was recorded in '91. And then updated in 2019. Interesting. You have a making of featurette. You got a interview from 2018. And apparently, it's conducted by filmmaker Robert Rodriguez. That's interesting. I had no idea that Robert Rodriguez would have anything to do with this movie. That's interesting. So, you got alternate end credits with a vocal performance by Streisand. You got a pretty good amount of features on here that I don't think were on the previous DVD or Blu Ray. So yeah, I'm going to start with another stack of 5. And Alexis said that Jack Nicholson is the man. He sure is. I don't know who's still watching, but there's going to be more. Yeah, these other Blu-rays I didn't expect to buy, but I figured I'll go ahead and grab them. This is a film that had Edward Woodward, who had gone on to be The Equalizer, and I had that TV show. It's a film called Breaker Moment. And now my ears... Nice when Sam's talking about the itchy feeling. I'm starting to itch in my ear now, too. Damn. Anyway, Breaker Moment has a new 4K transfer that's apparently supervised and approved by the director. You got an audio commentary dating back to 2004. New interviews with Beresford, cinematographer Donald McAlpine, actor Brian Brown. You actually have an interview with Edward Woodward in 2004 because he didn't die. He didn't pass away till 2009, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it was 2010. I don't remember. I can't remember if it was 2009, 2010. I don't remember. But yeah, you have a fairly good amount of features. Then you have a David Lynch film that I have here that I decided to go ahead and get, and that's the film Blue Velvet here. And you have a new 4K restoration. You have a 5.1 DTS soundtrack, and you have the alternate original surround soundtrack, and you have the lost footage. You have 53 minutes of deleted scenes, so that's got to be something new that wasn't on there. Just leave it alone. Put some. Oh, so Alexa, you're a fan of the Equalizer TV series? Yep. The one thing I don't like about that DVD is, unfortunately, I think some of the music was replaced on it. For some reason, I think the Region 2 DVD, I think all the music and the songs were intact on that one. So that's the one thing I don't like. That's a sick... Oh, you're talking about this film here, Blue Velvet? Well, it's got Dennis Hopper in here. What more can I say? So might as well add this to my collection. So yeah. Next up here, I have a film called Shortcuts. It's directed by Robert Altman, I believe. You have a pretty extensive cast. You have you also have another 4K transfer, remastered soundtrack. You got a conversation with the director and actor Tim Robbins. Oh yeah, he's in this film. You also have Andy McDowell, Bruce Davison, Julian. You have a pretty huge ensemble cast in this film. I think the film's over 3 hours long, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 187 minutes. That's 3 hours and 7 minutes. Jumud says, to be fair, yeah, he was getting up there. So yeah. And Jumud says George Lazenby was going to be the... Oh yeah, so he was going to be... Really? That's interesting. I think Edward Woodward was the better choice. And I only saw the sequel with Denzel Washington, and it was okay, but I haven't seen the original one. I'm sure Denzel is a good actor in his own right, but in my honest opinion, he can't top Edward Woodward. And he was an old man, so yeah. So here, next up, whether you love her or hate her, I can't deny that Jane Fonda is a good actor, and it's the film Clute with Donald Sutherland as well. So yeah, another Donald Sutherland film. I'm curious about this. I've heard about it. I never really saw it. You have a new 4K transfer. You actually got a new interview with actor Jane Fonda, and you got a new program about Clute and the director Alan J. Pakula. You got some other features on here, so that's pretty cool. And I think this is another Blu-ray that I bought for cheap, but I decided to go ahead and buy the new one, and that's the Dustin Hoffman film that's called Midnight Cowboy. You also have John Voight in there too. You got a 4K restoration, a remastered soundtrack, and interviews galore, a lot of features. So yeah. So without sounding boring, so yeah. Okay. As a fan for okay. Junebug's talking about the Lazenberry James Bond film. Quinn says, honestly, Brendan, I'm surprised we're still alive. Yeah. But unfortunately, when you live that long, you're going to be prone to more diseases. So please do watch. That's another sick but good movie. Which one are we talking about? Are you talking about Blue Velvet, or are you talking about another one that was? Okay, maybe you'll answer that shortly, I imagine. So the next up is another Blu-ray that I've heard this film, but I've heard some interesting stuff behind it, and that's the film. Clute. Huh. I'll definitely give that a watch at some point. Sorry about that. Next up is I heard there's some interesting history about this film. That's Michael Cimino's Heaven's. Is it Heaven? Yeah, Heaven's Gate. And from what I heard, the film started off with a very small budget, but for some reason, Cimino didn't like how certain things were, and he kept escalating the budget. Like it started like 2 or 3 million, and by the end of production, the film's budget became 40 million because of the certain ways that he wanted the sets being built. Whatever the reason was, he was I guess a perfectionist. But I won't go too into it. So you have a new restore transfer of Cimino's cut, supervised by Cimino himself, a new restoration of the 5.1 soundtrack. So apparently, yeah, the movie's 216 minutes. So we're looking at a 3-hour plus film right there. So yeah. And you got a new interview with Cimino, producer John Corelli, and you got new interviews with actor Chris Christopherson. You got the people behind the soundtrack and lots of other stuff. So yeah, I'm curious about this film. So because of the about the history. Oh, so you knew that too, huh, Alexa? You seem to have some pretty knowledgeable stuff too. So yeah, but I'm curious about it. And I got another set. Yeah, I know. I didn't expect to buy this more, but I figured I'd go ahead and get them while I still can. I think I heard you talk about this, Quinn, and that's a Terry Gilliam film, and that's the film Brazil. Figured I'd go ahead and add that to my collection. And you got a new approved, I guess, director's edition, or yeah, he's got a new restored high definition digital transfer of the 142-minute director's cut, which is approved by Gilliam. He is also an audio commentary, and you got What is Brazil? Yeah, documentaries. Yeah, good amount of features. Alexis says that's why I like. Hey, I really do appreciate that. And by the way, you're welcome on that video. I meant to comment, but it's been a pretty hectic week for me. So next up, I had the DVD, and I noticed the later Blu-ray there was like no features, but thankfully they got features on this one. That's the another Dustin Hoffman film, The Graduate. Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me. But yeah, you got a new 4K restoration, and you have the uncompressed mono soundtrack, but you also have an optional 5.1 track. You have it's actually apparently that sound remix has been approved by director Mike Nichols. You got an audio commentary from 2007. New interview with actually got a new interview with Dustin Hoffman. That's pretty cool. I think you have pretty much the features from the 2007 DVD, but it's good to see that it got some new features on here too. So, and a new 4K transfer. So yeah, glad to have this. And then I've heard of this film, but I never really fully watched it, and that's a film called Night on Earth. I know this has Winona Ryder in it, from what I understood, and several other cast members. You have Gina Rowlands, R. Mueller-Stahl. It's got a new digital restoration, a two-channel soundtrack. So yeah, and some other features. I think they're pretty old features, but it's cool to have them on here. So next up, I've heard of this film, but I never got around to getting it. And that's of The Last Emperor. I've heard of this, but I never really fully watched it. And so you have a new director-approved, special features, and you have a restored high-definition transfer that's supervised and approved by the cinematographer. And you have a new, it's kind of hard to tell. I'll be honest, I don't really like the color they use. It's kind of hard to read on here. You got like a couple of documentaries that are over 50 minutes from what I've seen. An interview back in 2008. Eastside says, send me the link. Which link you're talking about? This is not a StreamYard link, Eastside. This is me talking personally because I didn't know if I didn't think anybody else wanted to join, but I will be on a live stream later. Next up is another film I didn't expect to get, but you know what? It's a Spike Lee film, and Alexa said that's a pretty good movie. I guess talking about The Last Emperor. Believe it or not, I decided to go ahead and get it. And that's a film called Do the Right Thing. I've heard of this because it has Danny Elio, Ozzie Davis, and it's a Spike Lee film. So I figured I'd go ahead and add it. So you have, I think it's a 2-disc edition. You have a new 4K restoration, 5.1 DTS soundtrack, 2K digital transfer, new interviews with the costume designer, and a whole lot more. I haven't seen this, but I'm pretty sure it's a good film, and it's Spike Lee. What more can I say? There's another film I want to see of his that had Wesley Snipes and what's her face, Annabelle Scorello. Do the Right Thing. So, you're talking. So really, this film actually had that woke influence, huh? I didn't know that. That's interesting. But I figured I'd go ahead and add it to my collection. The film I was talking about, I don't know if I mentioned it. It's called Jungle Fever. Wesley Snipes, Annabelle Scorello. Oh, wait a minute. Are you talking about Jungle Fever? Or are you talking about Do the Right Thing? I'll let you clear that. I'll let you clear that up, Alexa. So. And I got more here. Next up is a film I've heard of but never really saw, and that's it's a Jonathan Demme film, and that's Something Wild. Melanie Griffin's in there. You have a new restored digital transfer. You have a new interview with the director Demme and the screenwriter E. Max Fry, plus the trailer as well. Next up, this was the Blu Ray that I called in to put the hold on. Okay, Alexa, you meant Do the Right Thing. That's cool. That's the most classically well-known, comedy, medieval comedy. I don't know what you call it. The Princess Bride. Cary Elwes. Before he would do Robin Hood Men in Tights, he did this film, and it was directed by Rob Reiner. You have a new 4K transfer. You have a new, you have a 5.1 surround DTS mix, audio commentary from director Rob Reiner, and a lot of other features, probably from the previous special edition. But anyway, it's good to have this. Next up, I noticed it. I figured, you know what, I gotta have it. It's Johnny Depp, and it's another Terry Gilliam film, and that's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. And so you have a new digital transfer approved by the director with a DTS HD master soundtrack and an optional 5.1 mix. Okay, that's cool. 3 audio commentaries with Gilliam, stars Depp and DeToro. And I guess you have some other features that were from the previous. I'll get mad if he does anything that crosses the line. I won't get mad about him trashing Scott. Okay. Trash, what are you talking about? You're not going to get... I'm confused, Sam. Are you just messing with me on that? Okay. Anywho, next up is another Blu-ray, and that's Sex, Lies, and the Videotape. New restored 4K transfer, 5.1 mix. You got an audio commentary. You got interviews with Soderbergh from 90 and 92. Some other features, which I won't get into. Sam says, if he does anything inappropriate on StreamYards, that's what I meant. Why would you not get mad about him trashing me, Sam? I'm curious about that. Anywho, next up is Rumblefish, Francis Ford Coppola. Got it mainly for the actors. You got a new 4K transfer supervised by the director of photography. You got a 2-channel soundtrack. You got an alternate remaster 5.1. And you got some other features on here too. So yeah. Getting there. Alexa says you got a lot of gems. Yes, I did. I did not expect to get any of these, to be honest, but I figured I'd go ahead and grab them because I forgot to mention this. They were 50%. They were 50% off, and plus, let me see if I can show this off. They were 50% off, and in addition, they gave me a card, and I got another 10% off of these too. So I got a huge deal, and plus they were going to be cheaper than buying them online, surprisingly enough. And Sam says he does troll you something to kind of. Sometimes we have an honest heart-to-heart once in a while. So, you know, he might troll me on the Cowboy situation, which, by the way, I just read that kicker Kai Forbarth was cut. So, yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Next up here, I've seen the one with George Clooney, but I never saw the original one. That's the science fiction film Solaris. I'm curious about this. I figured I'd go ahead and get it. You get a new high-definition digital restoration, an audio commentary by the director. You got 9 deleted and alternate scenes. You got video interviews with the actress, and a couple other stuff. So yeah. Next up, I think I had the old Blu-ray, but I figured I'd go ahead and upgrade this one. And it's a Sidney Poitier film, and it's called In the Heat of the Night. So I figured I'd go ahead and add this film. You have a new 4K digital restoration of this film. Uncompressed mono soundtrack. You got new interviews with director Norman Jewison and actor Lee Grant. A segment of 2006 American Film Institute with an actor with Sidney Poitier. And many other features, so I don't want to get into it. This year, I know I definitely has upgraded, and I figured I'd go ahead and do that. And that's, believe it or not, the classic, another Jonathan Demme film, Silence of the Lambs. You know, because it's Anthony Hopkins. You have Jodie Foster, who actually won an Oscar for this. So I figured I'd go ahead and get it. Because now you got a 4K digital restoration of this movie. You got a 2-channel DTS soundtrack, an alternate 5.1 DTS soundtrack as well. You got a new interview with the critic. You got 38 minutes of deleted scenes. I don't know if that was on the previous Blu-ray, but you got a good amount of features on here, and you got a new remastered picture. You can't complain about that. So yeah. And Alexa says, great movie In the Heat of the Night. Yeah, I do like Sidney Poitier because I also liked To Serve with Love, and I have actually seen the sequel To Serve with Love too that came out much later. Oh yeah, I figured you'd like that, Alexa. Because it's Hannibal and it's Anthony Hopkins. And speaking of which, I'm trying to decide if I want to get Hannibal or not. Because I do have the one that didn't have Foster nor Hopkins. It was called Manhunter. I have that one as well. Let's see. That's 3. Next up, I didn't know if I should get this because I kept seeing this a lot, but I figured I'd go ahead and grab it, just for the hell. And that's probably the most recent film that I got, and that's the film with Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson. That's called Marriage Story. So I figured I'd go ahead and get it. Got a new 4K digital transfer. That's supervised by the director, Noah Baumbach, I guess. And you got a new interview with Baumbach, the players. You got interviews with actor Scarlett Johansson, Adam Driver, Laura Dern, Alan Alda, Ray Liotta. So yeah, figured I'd go ahead and get it. And I have seen the number 23. Good film right there. Well, maybe not a good film, but I thought it was okay. Next up, I have an independent film that has, Bill Murray in it, and it's called The Life Aquatic. And I've heard about it, but I never really watched it. But I heard it depends on your idea of what's good or not. So, you got a new director-approved transfer, interviews, the usual, the 4K restoration, DTS 5.1. I'm guessing some of the interviews were on the previous DVD, previous editions. So yeah. Alexa actually liked number 23. Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad of a film. It's nice to see, a guy like Jim Carrey play, do something different. I mean, he kind of did that with, what is it called? It's a 2001 film, and I don't remember. I can't remember the name. Yeah, I thought it was a decent flick. I mean, there was also Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which I'll be honest, I haven't seen that film yet, but I hear it's good. Okay, got these 5, and I got the last 5 left, so I'll be done hopefully. And here's another film that I've heard about, but I've never seen. That's a film called Naked Lunch. And Alexa, yeah, it's cool. I'm glad you agree with me, Alexa. It's cool to see someone do something different. I mean, hell, Adam Sandler did films like Punch Drunk Love and Rain on Me. But back to this subject. This is a Cronenberg film. Got a high-definition transfer approved by Cronenberg. You got a commentary with Cronenberg and actor Peter Weller, so that's cool. You got a 92 documentary about the making of the film, special effects gallery, and some other stuff. I've heard about it, but I'm curious to check this out. So Sam says, I love 23. It was pretty good. You have to keep track of what's going on. A bit cheesy, but awesome. Azuno, why do you like old movies? Because they were made very well, and they were, much better acted, and they they didn't try to push for agenda unless that's what the film was going for. So yeah. Next up here, I've heard about this film because it has Scarlett Johansson. What's the other actress? Thora Birch, and of course Steve Buscemi, and of course Brad Renfro. That's the film Ghost World. I figured I'd go ahead and get this while I was at it. You have a 4K transfer, 5.1 soundtrack, audio commentary. You actually got new interviews with actress Thora Birch, Scarlett Johansson, Alana Douglas. You got deleted scenes. I don't know if that was on the previous DVD, and so yeah. Exactly. Old movies are awesome. Completely agree with you. Next up, I have another film. I always wondered if I should get this or not. I don't know if I have the previous Blu Ray or not, but I figured I'd go ahead and get it. It's worth the upgrade, and that's the film Bull Durham. You got a 4K transfer. That was actually approved by the director. You got 2-channel 5.1 DTS track. Got two commentaries featuring Shelton and actors Kevin Costner and Tim Robbins. And you got a new conversation between Shelton and film critic Michael Sarago. And you got some other interviews with the cast and even Susan Sarandon. So yeah. Next up here is the film that I definitely wanted to get since I sold my other Blu-ray edition, and it's a John Hughes film. Just like Weird Science was another John Hughes film. This one's the most well known, and it also came out in '85, and that's The Breakfast Club. Still holds up to this day. A well-renowned classic by John Hughes. You got a good amount of features. You got a 4K digital restoration. You have the uncompressed model soundtrack. You also got the alternate 5.1 track as well. You have the audio commentary from 2008, which has Anthony Michael Hall, Judd Nelson. You got new interviews with actors Molly Shannon, not Molly Shannon, Molly Ringwald, and Ali Sheedy. And got new video essay featuring director John Hughes. I think the other newest thing was actually the 50 minutes of deleted scenes that are on this Blu-ray. I don't think they were on the previous Blu-ray. If they were, there wasn't too many. So I figured I'd go ahead and get it for that. We got other features on here too, so it's pretty loaded. So glad to see that it got some even more recognition. Next up is another Dustin Hoffman film that I figured I'd get. And this is kind of a sick movie too, if you're familiar with it, Alexa. And that's the film Straw Dogs. You got a new 4K digital transfer. You got the uncompressed mono soundtrack. I don't know if it has the 5.1 soundtrack on there or not. I know the previous Blu-ray did actually. And I don't know if any of the features are new. You got the documentary from 2003 because it did have a special edition back in that day. But you also have a new conversation between critic Michael Sergo and filmmaker Roger Spootsmith, one of the editors on the film. So yeah, a new interview with film scholar Linda Williams and some other features on there too. So you definitely agree with me, Alexa. Another kind of a sick movie, but hey. I also have the remake too, which wasn't too bad, but probably the best one is the original one. So yeah. And then I guess what? I'm about to be done. So I have no idea this was going to be over an hour, but I knew that it was going to be a lot longer. So I appreciate people that are watching and actually staying in here. So yeah. Okay, next up here. It's actually a 70s film that I got here. I figured I'd go ahead and add, and I got it mainly from Margot Kidder, and that's the film Sisters. And has a 4K digital restoration approved by Brian De Palma. New interview with actor Jennifer Salt. We got interviews with De Palma, a couple other people, and some other features too. There was another film that I wanted to get it's called Free Woman, and I didn't see it there, I don't think, so that's kind of disappointing. Another film I wanted to get that was also by the Criterion was Rosemary's Baby, and gosh, what was it? Oh yeah, The Royal Tenenbaums and Blood Simple. I wanted to get those, but I was only able to find the DVD edition of Royal Tenenbaums. Couldn't, and same with Blood Simple as well. Next up here is another film I've seen. Haven't fully watched it, but it's a pretty solid film. It's another Brian De Palma film, and that's called Blowout. Because you have John Travolta, Nancy Allen, and John Lithgow, who plays a pretty good villain in this film. Sam says, you never seen the film, you mean Straw Dogs? Yeah, it's a good little film. No problem, Fearless Leader Scotty. That's cool. If you saw my collection of movies, you'd be blown away. That'd be okay. I might, if you do a live stream of that or put up a video, I might, give it a watch. But anyway, you got a new digital restore transfer. You got a new hour-long video with Brian De Palma. And you got actually a new interview with Nancy Allen as well. Too bad there's no John Lithgow interview, which is unfortunate, but hey. I guess you can't interview everyone. So, but anyways, glad to have it. Alexa says, great choices, Scotty. Hope you get them. I might. I don't know if I will. And what's up, DJ Darling? Welcome to the stream. Next up, I have another Blu-ray. I'm familiar with the actors, but I've never seen it, but I figured I'd go ahead and get it. It's called Lost in America. And you have a new digital 2K transfer. Got a new conversation with Brooks and filmmaker Robert Weed, I think it is. And you got new interviews with Julie Haygardy, executive producer Herb Nanas, and filmmaker and screenwriter James L. Brooks, actually. And the film was, what do you know? Albert Brooks actually directed this film. So I'm doing good, DJ. Just going over the last of my Blu-rays. And so today I bought 30 Blu-rays from Barnes & Noble. And then I bought, let's say, 18. So I got like another 20 plus I bought. So I bought like 55 Blu-rays. I haven't seen that film either, Alexa, but I figured I'd go ahead and add it to it. Next up, I'm going to do this one, is the original one. It's called The Manchurian Candidate. I believe this is the one that has Burt Lancaster in here. It came out in 1962. It's a 4K transfer, and I actually had that one, but I figured I'd go ahead and upgrade to this one. So I think the features are from the previous editions, probably from the previous DVD and Blu-ray, so I figured I'd go ahead and add it. I saw some of the 2004 one. the 2004 remake of The Manchurian. Seemed like a decent film. You know, it's Denzel Washington. You have a pretty solid cast. You have Meryl Streep. You have Liev Schreiber. You had a young upcoming Vera Farmiga in there too, and someone else as well. I can't remember. But and then last but not least, it's another Cronenberg film. Wasn't sure if I was going to get it, but I figured I'd go ahead and add it to my collection. It's called The Brood. Horror film by it. Haven't really fully watched it. You have a new 2K digital transfer supervised by David Cronenberg. You have actors Sam Edgar, producer Pierre David, cinematographer Mark Irwin, and is this okay? And many more. So yeah, I guess you're talking about the Manchurian Candidate. Oops, hope they didn't die. Cracked up. Yep, that pretty much rounds it up. That's my Blu-ray collection. Wow, an hour and 11 minutes. Wow, I never thought I'd go on for this long. Hopefully you were wowed by some of my choices. Oh, so you've seen that film too, huh, Alexa? That's cool. You got some interesting taste like I do, so that's interesting. But yeah, 50 plus Blu-rays. That's a lot I got. And I'm getting a few more. I was going to try to get them all at the same time, but since I had to send a couple of them back because unfortunately the disc decided to come loose for whatever reason, I'm not going to, for all I know, those discs can be scratched, and I did not want to pay for that. So I'm getting 2 replacements, and I should be getting the Teen Wolf, the first one, as well, since I got the second one. I was going to try to wrap up a couple of trilogies, like the Return of the Living Dead trilogy and the Exorcist one. Well, technically, it's a quadrilogy, but I don't really care to get the 4th one anytime soon. Well, thank you, Sam. Now send Sam the link, and let's get well, that's going to have to be on StreamYard. So, and to be honest, I kind of need a shower because I think I kind of stink. Maybe not the worst stink, but I need a shower. So, but yeah. And then Alexa said, "Great movie, Scotty." Well, glad you approve of that. Hey, you should come down for a movie night if you want. Same with you, Sam. But if you want it to be put the Febreze, it's not that bad, but I need a shower, so yeah. I don't stink like Slider did in Top Gun, so yeah. But yeah, those are the Blu-rays. I might try to see if I can get the other ones, but I don't want to spend too much money on that because I spent a lot of. I mean, even though I got a discount on them, let me see. I'm gonna see how much I spent on Barnes and Noble. I put 2 on the credit card. I put the other 2 on debit cards. So I think, you know what, I'm gonna estimate. I think I almost spent $700 on these Blu-rays. Almost $700. That's a lot, but I figured I'd go ahead and get them while I'm at it. So whatever the next Blu-rays I'm gonna get, that's gonna be it. Because as much as I want to get some of the other ones, maybe someone can buy them for me, and maybe I can do a review for them. That's my thinking. So yeah, I'm very glad that people, you know, were. Azuna said, "Scotty, trying Netflix and chill." I think this is better than Netflix. Plus, you get the features. You know, Netflix or Hulu doesn't really have any of these. They don't have special features. That's why I got them for that. Plus, you know, it's cool to see a restoration process. You know, getting the natural film grain and trying to get the, enhance the picture, but not trying to use, not trying to remove so much of the grain where they look like wax doll figures, like, for example, like the Predator Blu-ray did. But, oh, what do you know, Rice Man, you suck? I bet you suck a million times worse. I bet you suck big cock like that. I bet you suck at that big eggplant that you have. I'll take a quick shower and get on StreamYard. You will do that. You don't need to wave your Jedi hand, Ty. That's my plan. Surprised it wasn't Rinse. You suck? No, I don't suck. But maybe you do. I really don't care if I miss him or not. He's indifferent to me. But I think you miss me, don't you, Rice Man? Or Rice Bitch? Or Renz, Billy Boob, Felipe. I'm sorry, your name's not Felipe, it's Felicia. Sorry, no, it's Larry. Larry Felicia. There you go, Larry Felicia. Jimbo says, hey, Bryce, man, I had the most amazing experience with my girlfriend. Today, suck me, you would. Today, I guess it's the autocorrect, but hey, I'm sure you had some kind of nice little pun. Ozuna, no, that would be Rice Bitch. I probably would eat the eggplant for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm going to make, and now that I'll definitely make that eggplant my bitch for sure. Alexis says, LMAO. Oh, sorry, LMFAO. Well, I think it's LMAF, laughing my ass off. Or I don't really care. Don't really give a shit. Rice bitches, he says, I'm a legend, you know it. You wish you were a legend, right? Maybe in your own head you're a legend. Ramble Ralph for Life is a heck of more of a legend compared to you. Yeah, sorry. My hair's a little messed up, but it's okay. Yeah, I know. I need to get a haircut. But it's barely been 2 months almost, so give me a break here. But I think that pretty much does it. So, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and shower. Oh, yeah, I probably should brush my teeth because it's almost midnight. Then I'm going to stream. Bet you didn't predict that either, too, Ty. Ty says he's the legend. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and end this one. Then I'm going to jump on StreamYard, and if anyone wants to join and, stop by, y'all more than welcome. So I'm here. I'm going to be no, I lost my train of thought. Anyways, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be streaming, and hopefully y'all like this video. Feel free to share, comment, like, and you know the drill. So I'll see you later, folks. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.